G'day, sweetheart. It is lovely to see you. It's cold out there, and so I've got all my layers on. But I'm inside, and I'm warm and toasty because I've just been for a walk, and we're doing rocks. It's the time of year for rocks. And blessed solstice to you. You know, the shortest day was, for us, yesterday. But a lot of you will be on the longest day, and more of you will be on the shortest day, and that's just how it goes. Oh, look at me. I'm all sixes and sevens. When I did this thing up this morning, I didn't really care. I just wanted it to be there. But now I want it to look nice. So excuse me while I satisfy my vanity. Good morning, Holly. Good morning, Mike. There you are. I'm slightly more symmetrical. So we're doing rocks today. And this is sea jasper. And I don't know how well you can see. It's not actually black and white or dark grey and white. It's actually very dark green. And you can see it's got all these beautiful sort of mottled soft gradations of white in there, because those are under the surface, right? But these ones where the ball's been polished are where the white is actually on the surface, and it's just quite fabulous. It is quite reminiscent. Where is it? I mean, that looks a little bit like Africa. This looks a little bit like South America. It's kind of a map rock. That looks actually a little bit like the Middle East. So it's not really our planet, but you can pretend that it is, and it's beautiful. So it's our little piece of sea jasper for the morning. I'm going to put that somewhere it's not going to roll. And this, I keep on not knowing what it is. I look it up, somebody tells me, and I forget, and I don't know how well you can see the colour, because on my screen it kind of looks grey and white, but the pale bits are actually a sort of a soft, I don't know, it's a soft pinky colour. I'm going to try and catch the light on it so I can at least see it. It's just not really coming out very well on camera. If anybody knows what this is, feel free to tell me. It doesn't really feel like some kind of quartz variant. It's got, the surface is a little bit pitted in the places that are the soft red. It's really unusual. I know it's not that uncommon. I just don't know what it is. So there it is anyway. And I don't think you can see the colour, but maybe your camera is going to render it more accurately than mine. To me it looks grey and sort of creamy, but it's a soft pink, a sort of brick pink. Yeah, so there you go. That's something else, and it's always a mystery to me, even though I have found out what it is before now. This, I believe, is a piece of New Zealand. So you can just see it's got the finest little sparkly druzy quartz crystals on it, because this is a piece of agate, unpolished, you know, just how it came out of the earth. So it's got this very sparkly side. It's completely un-anythinged. So you can see, I mean, this part looks kind of all volcanic because it's flowed. And there's these cavities. Actually, this one is a little bit druzy too. Good morning, beautiful beings. So lovely to have you jumping on and sharing with me. And look, this is kind of, you know, the dendritic crystals where you get the tree-like shapes inside them. This is what it looks like, except this is just a fractured surface. So very clearly, this was a hot liquid inside the earth, and then it cooled and it made these beautiful shapes and designs. And I love this one. It's just so perfectly unusual and imperfect. And there's the back of it, which is really, it's just more of this kind of volcanic flowstone, which is not the right word. But anyway, there it is. Those are our rocks for the day. I love this. It's kind of like, you know, a river from space or lightning. Hi, Jen! It's the beautiful fractal shapes that you find everywhere on planet Earth, because everything is fundamentally made of the same stuff, and the same fractal structure is there and everything. So, good morning, everybody. It's lovely to have you jumping on. And today, I want to talk about when the bottom falls out, when the shit hits the fan, when the crap comes down, when your world falls apart, when you feel you can't go on, when you're faced with something really scary, you know, that, right? I want to talk about that because one of you made a comment a little while ago, and I stuck it in my pain points file, about being so exhausted you can't really even get up and move. And that happens, right? So what the fuck do you do? And what the feck you do, I thought to myself yesterday, is, or what I've learned to do, is to come into my heart. Now, what does that mean? And there's a reason why I just want to, this is the kind of, the practical technique Tuesday thing that I used to do sort of religiously. And then I thought, no, I'm just going to do it when I feel like it. And today I feel like it. So the thing is, when I say come into my heart, what I literally mean is I'm going to put my attention, where your breastbone is, that hard bone where all your ribs link up into, right? Behind that is your physical heart that's pumping. But there's also an energy center there. Good morning, Andrew. There's an energy center there because the heart has about 40,000 neurites. It has its own brain. It has its own consciousness. It has its own energy. And when you are stressed and, when the shit is falling all over the place and there's custard on the walls and the bottom's falling out of your life, along with everything else in your physical form in your brain, your heart becomes incoherent. And what I mean is it's kind of, those neurites are not talking to each other, they're not communicating well. What happens in stress? Your heart beats fast, it's irregular, your breathing's irregular, everything is dysregulated. At a physical level, your body is really, all it wants to do is run away from danger, fight somebody, or hide and hope nobody notices you. And that's, if you need to deal with something that's difficult in your life, unless it actually is a lion, and most of us don't have to deal with that situation, you don't need to be running away like a mad thing, because when you're in that fight or flight state, your brain is not working. Your brain is only interested in running away. There's physical changes in your body that just mean you can't think. We've all had that experience of being so stressed that it's like, I know this, but I can't remember this. The test the exam where you just can't access the knowledge that you have because you're stressed out of your tiny wee pea shooter. And this is why. When we're stressed, there is no blood flow to the analytical thinking part of the brain. It goes to the back of the brain, which is the reptilian brain, which is all about surviving. And it's only interested in running away or fighting. That's it. So, to change that so that you have some ability to not be a cornered animal, right? To utilize your ability to think, to reason, to respond instead of react, to create instead of coming into your heart. By this, I mean putting your attention here. Literally, there is research to show that as soon as you do it, listen carefully. Some of you know this, but some of you might not. As soon as you put your awareness literally in your heart center, communication between your heart and your brain improves. Now, why the hell does that matter? Well, there are neurological pathways that go in both directions. However, most people think that the brain runs the show. And it sort of does, but actually it sort of doesn't. Of the connections that run between the brain and the heart, 95% of them go up. The brain actually runs an awful lot is actually dominated by the heart. When the heart is coherent, the heart says, hey brain, get organized, regulate the body, organize healing, access genius, access information, access clarity. As soon as the heart becomes coherent, and we'll talk about what that means briefly in a minute, the brain works better. So that's the first reason to get into your heart, is to have a brain instead of being like a cornered animal and just feeling terrified or like you want to rip somebody's head off. That's the first reason. The second reason is that when your heart beats more coherently, you feel better. Because it's impossible to feel scared, really, truly. It is impossible to feel afraid when your heart is coherent. Because fear is a survival state. Fear is I need to run away from a lion. Sadness, stress, anger, resentment, all those, despair, whatever it is, worthlessness, guilt, we talked about that yesterday. All of those things are a subset of being in a state of stress and of I need to survive. And when your heart is coherent, you're not in survival. You can't have a coherent heart and be in a survival state. You can have a coherent heart and have very challenging circumstances around you, but you're not afraid. You're not angry. You're not whatever it is. Arika, it's lovely to see you. So that's why it's a really good idea to come into your heart and make your heart coherent. Now, this is simple to do. It is not easy, especially when you want to fight or run away or you feel like dying or whatever it is, but it is simple. It's not rocket science. There's a lot of rocket science research being done about it, and you can look up heart coherence, go to the Heart Math Institute, you can learn. It's fascinating. But how to do it is to put your awareness, like you can put your awareness in your, left hand big finger, stick it there. You can become aware of it. You can become aware of your right foot. You can become aware of your left butt cheek. Your awareness is mobile, and you can choose what you put it on. So, get your mobile awareness with your, so you have to use your rational mind to do this. Grab a handful of your mobile awareness and put it in the center of your chest. And once you've got it there, breathe in and out of that place. Now, the first thing about breathing in and out of that place is that when you're breathing in and out of that place, you've got something to do while you're focusing there. Because if your brain wants to hear off into worrying about the thing that just happened or the thing that's coming or that awful feeling that you've had for 50 years or whatever it is, it gives you something else to think about. And you need to get your attention off all the stuff that has been eating you alive. Abigail, good morning. So get your mobile attention, take it away from all the busy thoughts and the fear and the stress and the sadness and whatever, and just put it here and breathe. And the first time I did that, it felt really weird to be breathing in to my heart, because I'm breathing in here, because I think of my belly going out, so it was like breathing in here was inside out, because I always felt like an expansion there. And so it was just different. It's not a contraction. It's just a different thing. I had to fire and wire. It was unfamiliar. So breathe into your heart and put everything else on the shelf. It'll still be there when you look up again. Close your eyes if you like. Closing my eyes always helps me. Put your awareness in your heart and breathe in and out of that space, and consciously, gently, without forcing it, lengthen your breath. Now, why is that good? Because lengthening your breath, particularly the out breath, begins to regulate the autonomic nervous system that runs your entire body. When you breathe in, and you do it smoothly and gently, and you with awareness, immediately you're present, you're not thinking, you're sensing, you're feeling into your breath, you are breathing into your heart, and you are activating in a smooth and appropriate manner the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight response when it's really triggered. But it's actually necessary to keep you alive. It runs your body. Now, when you rest at the top of the breath, You've taken in oxygen, you actually give your body a chance to use up some of that oxygen. Just rest there. Don't, just rest there. Give your body a chance to use some of that and do the gaseous exchange and get rid of, put the things it doesn't want into your lungs. Now breathe out, still through your heart, right? Still doing all this in your heart. Breathe out slowly and completely. And rest at the bottom. And as you breathe out, you're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest and heal and integrate and calm down and think and create. That's the system you use for that, which is why lengthening the out breath is so nice, because it calms everything. And when you do this in the heart, you make the heart coherent. Now take another breath in and out, and slowly and with awareness. Focus more on that than anything else, even than on me. Pay attention to your breath and your heart. Not its beating, just the sense of being in the center of your chest and breathing there, and knowing that as you pay attention to your breath in that space and you lengthen it and you soften it and you gentle it, And just staying aware, staying present, you're giving your body the opportunity to come into order. And the very first thing you start to notice as you keep doing this is you feel calmer. So it doesn't matter what's going on. This is always going to work if you will make yourself do it. And sometimes I have to make myself do it. It is an effort of will. Now, why does it work? When we're stressed, the spaces between the heartbeats are not regular. You get you get a gap between the heartbeats. It's like this, and then it's like this, and then it's like this, and then it's like that, and then it's like that. And when you graph the length of time between the heartbeats, not the pulse rate per se, but the spaces between the heartbeats, you get a very irregular, jagged rhythm. And that's just how we feel. Irregular, jagged, upset, out of sorts, And that irregular, jagged rhythm, the spaces between the heartbeat, sends a regular, jagged, disorganized information to the brain, which then sends irregular, jagged, disorganized information to the body. That's why stress makes us sick. Short version. When you continue to put your awareness in your heart and breathe in and out, what happens is that as you breathe in gently and steadily, the sympathetic nervous system activates, and you'll notice a pattern. You'll start to feel it if you do this, that your pulse elevates very slightly. It goes from bing, 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 and then you sit at the top, and then you come down, and it goes slower. Bing, 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 bing. I'm exaggerating. That is the pattern. I noticed that for years. And the variability of that heart rate, actually, the wider it is, the better. A variable heart rate means that your heart can adapt. It means that your parasympathetic and your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous systems are in balance. And when you map that slight increase and that slight decrease over and over with each breath, that's what happens. The pulse rate increases and it decreases with every breath, and it becomes extremely regular and organized. And then there is organized information going to your brain and organized information going to your body, and there is order and there is peace and there is calm, and you feel better. And that's truly, really what happens. That's why it's so powerful. And when you do that, and you can practice this, you can learn to sustain it for 2 minutes. And if you can do that, you can learn to sustain it for 5 minutes. There are people who practice heart breathing for 40 minutes a day. Why would they do that? Because they want to heal their body and they want to heal their brain. It's very powerful. And if you keep doing that, there's all kinds of other things. You can open your focus and go into space, and that makes the brain even more coherent. But this is about getting out of stress. Now, I said that there is a simple way that I just sort of discovered, and I know it's nice because I said it to my husband. He went, oh yeah, that is nice. Where you can just use this in a very gentle and unstressed way to focus energy onto a part of your body that you would like to not even say, oh, I'm going to heal this, but to say, I want to feel coherent about this. I want to relax about this. I want to calm down about this. Or in fact, any situation or a person or whatever. And that is, so come back to the thought of breathing. And remember, every time you breathe in, you're activating your sympathetic nervous system. Your pulse rate's going to rise a little bit. Every time you breathe out in coherence, it's going to drop a little bit. And you can map that, and you get these beautiful regular rhythms. So keep the awareness there and keep the breathing just long and low, or gentle. And then what you can do is with your awareness, you breathe in and you feel love or healing or safety. You can choose a feeling, or you can simply have the awareness of coherence. Coherence being order, being life, being everything as it should be. And then, if there's a pain in your body as you breathe out, have the thought of just allowing that coherence to go to the pain. If there's a difficult situation, so breathe in again, breathe in. Take your awareness off the thing. Don't get focused on the thing that you would like to change. Keep your awareness in your heart. But have the intention that as you breathe out, you allow that coherence to flow to that situation or that person or that whatever. Now here's another thing, another reason why coherence is really cool in your heart. The heart generates an electromagnetic field. And that electromagnetic field is quantum. You are entangled with every atom in your entire universe and mine. And when you make your heart coherent and you then place an intention on that coherent field that your heart is now generating, it's a damn sight more effective at being executed. You just put it out there. You just let it go. You don't go, oh, I want this to happen. No, you just work on the coherence. Put your attention there. Breathe, create it, and allow it to flow through you. Just allow the coherent resonance of your heart to carry your intention. You don't have to push it out there. It's almost like if your heart is the pond and you make it still and calm and coherent, and then your thought is like the pebble you drop in it, and those ripples have nothing to interfere with them and destroy them, and they go a long way. And the universe says, oh, okay, finally I know what she wants. Woohoo, I know what he's after. Let me give it back. That's how it works. That's, the heart is the creative center. You got to get coherent. And once you can do that, you can start to, the brain starts to work. You can open your focus. We haven't talked about that today. And then you can put a clear intention on that calm, clear, and quite possibly elevated emotion. And it's like, as Joe Dispenza says, it's like having a Wi-Fi signal. And you don't have to do anything. You just put the intention there. And because you're quantumly entangled with all that is goes, oh, okay. That's what they're after. Cool. Let's deliver that. So that's what I wanted to share today. When the bottom falls out of your life, that's what we can do. Now, today is Tuesday. In 3.5 hours, I'm going to be back with an update from our Sang Marie Gomez in the Gambia. He is just a few days away from big exams and then something even bigger after that. So if you want to be back in 3.5 hours to catch up, that'll be lovely. And I look forward to that. And I'll see you tomorrow too. Bye-bye.